Imagine losing 50 pounds, not by suffering, not by starving, and not by punishing yourself, but by finally taking control of your choices, your habits, and your health. Stick with me, because at the end, you will see how Liam had turned his life around by implementing strategies into his life that helped his body work for him and not against him. You can see how small enhancements made massive difference. You will also see how you can start implementing the same today. But if you don't want to stick around to the end and you just want to sign up for our coaching, where we will personalise everything, guarantee results, and make sure you have a strategy that fits your lifestyle, click the link below, check out the link in our bio, or DM Strong now, and we will guide you through the next steps that will allow us to build a plan for you. So let's talk about your environment and how if you don't implement certain strategies into your life, you are leaving the house each day, leaving up to luck whether you succeed or fail, not only in your energy, but your fat loss, your performance goals, whatever it is you may be. You want to make sure you're the one that's in full control of your life and you can guarantee the outcome. So I want to tell you a story about one of my clients who had a massive transformation recently. So Liam was sitting around 125 kilograms and he was getting bigger and bigger each month, and for somebody who was so active and was working up to 15 hours a day, this seemed hard to believe how this would be possible. It's not until you sit down and speak to your clients and understand their whole story that when you hear things like you just need to eat less, move more, doesn't always make sense. So Liam was leaving the house and he was going away to work for weeks on end, where he would be living in a camper van. Liam would live in the camper van and he would work 15 hours every day. Once he left the camper van, he was leaving it down to his environment to dictate what he was going to be eating and what he was going to be drinking throughout the day. So naturally what him and his team would do, because it could allow them to focus on just working most of the day, is they would order in takeaways from the local services. So guys would arrive on little bikes and drop off various takeaway foods throughout the day. Now for me this is hard to believe, and it wasn't until actually Liam had showed me to the extent how bad they were doing this. They were having up to 5 takeaways most days. Now that's 5 times where you're probably eating processed, heavily saturated fats, low quality, low protein, processed junk every day. So at a time when your body needs nutrient dense foods the most, when you're working hard in a tough environment, you are giving it the worst junk you could possibly find out there. So not only that, in Liam's situation where he is living in a camper van, he had his air fryer there, which isn't a bad thing, and he had very limited resources to be able to cook healthy meals. So when you are in that situation, it is even more important that you have some sort of strategy in place to make sure that you can be successful. At this point, maybe reflect on Liam's story, and I want you to think about how often do I leave the house and leave it down to my environment to dictate what I'm going to be eating on the day. I can tell you how many times I leave the house and that's going to happen. Only when I choose to do that on purpose, when I decide I'm going to go out for a meal with my family and I purposely want to eat something that is off my plan. That is the only time. Any other time I leave the house, I have stuff in my car, I have stuff in my backpack, I basically have stuff that's sitting in the house ready to take. I make my own healthy biltong. There's always something in place so I can always achieve my goals. And I can tell you all year round, I eat delicious foods. I also eat 6,000 plus calories a day, every day, for the last 10 to 15 years. So, before we go on any further, I am never going to tell you to starve yourself. Starving your body destroys your metabolism, and you will never ever hear me asking people to go on restricted calorie diets. So when I started working with Liam, I had to ask a lot of questions because I had to understand how are we going to implement a system that allows you to be successful, considering you are in very difficult circumstances where you don't have a cooker, you don't have a microwave, you don't have a steamer, you basically have an air fryer to cook with. You're going to be tired every day because you're working 15 hours a day. You're also sleeping in a camper van, which is out with your normal comfortable bed. You have a lot of responsibilities. You're working in extreme weather conditions. Quite often you're working between day shift and night shift, so your sleep's disrupted. You are working with people who eat takeaways 4 or 5 times a day, every single day, and you like eating similar foods. So we had to think of different ways that we were going to do this. And other than only having the air fryer, it's not really that difficult. So, what I challenge Liam to do is when you leave the house on the Sunday to go back to work for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it might be on this stint, you want to have bulk food in your van, in your camper van, that makes sure that every day you have something healthy that you can eat, but also something that's tasty. So you actually want to eat these things. And I said, if you give me a week or two to trust the process, you will see that every day your energy creeps up, you're eating foods that you enjoy, and then within 2 or 3 weeks you're looking at these other people who are getting bigger and bigger, they're eating junk food all day, and you will look at them and think, I don't know how they can even eat that. Once your body changes to start eating nutrient-dense whole foods every day, you don't need willpower. Your brain, your body is telling you, your guts are telling you, I don't want this food. So Liam, being a very disciplined and dedicated guy, he wrote me a list of all the foods that he liked. Liam's a very fussy eater, which again makes it a little bit more difficult to achieve success in this area. And I challenged quite a few of them and pushed the boundaries a bit to see if we could maybe try implementing this or try adding a few other things in. Then we looked at things like, okay, you leave the house, what are you drinking? So Liam was taking cans of cola with him, he was taking Lucozade, he was taking various other things. Things that's going to be spiking his blood sugar levels all day, helping him gain weight all the time. Insulin, when you spike your blood sugar levels, your body releases insulin. It's a transport hormone that shuttles all the nutrients around your body, and the one we want to be more focused on is it's shuttling everything into your fat storage as well. There is some anabolic benefits from spiking your blood sugar levels, but not when you're eating takeaways all day. Bodybuilders use it as an effective tool. They have high glycemic index carbohydrates, spike their blood sugar levels, and they put all the right foods in at a time, and they shuttle all the nutrients into the muscle and into the fat. For the everyday person, they want to be minimising blood sugar level spikes. So we had to make sure that whatever Liam was eating and drinking was avoiding that as well. The things he was drinking was the biggest problem. So it took Liam less than 5 days, and he had fully implemented a system working with me, and a lot of trial and error, a lot of going to see what he could get available at shops, what he could store in his little mini fridge, what he could cook in an air fryer, what he could cook before he left, what he could, without having to cook it, and trying to make everything as easy as possible. And then as a backup plan, we always made sure he had protein powder with him, making sure it was a high quality protein. We always made sure he had protein bars. And although they should never be your first option, it is a much better backup eating either one of them than eating takeaways all day. So, as explained, within the first week or two, Liam did report back saying, guys still continue ordering their takeaways, I no longer do that. I'm now starting to look at them and think, how could I have eaten that all these years? So by doing that alone, and now this is so simple and easy to do, by doing that alone is just taking responsibility for what he was putting in his mouth, not starving himself because he was struggling to eat all his foods every day. Liam, in a 4-month period, without going to the gym once, lost just under 50 pounds. Easy. No exercise, no cardio, no gym. He went to work and he stopped putting takeaways in his mouth. And he always made sure that he had something there that was going to make sure he got his protein targets every day. And he always made sure there was fruit, veg, other lower glycemic index carbohydrates that he could snack on if required. So he was still eating all day. All he really done is changed what he was eating. And I think it's a good time for now to maybe stop here, and I would like people to actually think about this. So when you leave the house to go to work, do you blame your environment for your poor choices? Or are you open and happily to admit that it's your own poor decisions that stop you achieving your goals? Another 2 positives that Liam did report back. He saved a lot of money not ordering takeaways all day, and actually, with being disciplined with choosing his own foods before he went to work, it actually allowed him much more time to focus on his work because he was not having to order, wait for a delivery, sit down, eat his delivery food, and then take time to digest this massive heavy meal again before he went back to work. So yeah, if your health's not your main priority, saving money and having that little bit more discipline, which equals more freedom in your life, can be a massive change. So, one challenge for you once you finish this video, I want you to walk away and I want you to take a note of everything you've eaten over the last 7 days. Or, if you can't remember, the next 7 days, take note of everything you eat. At the end of the week, I want you to sit down, maybe even sit down with your partner, or if you want to, you can give us a call and we can go through, do a strategy call with you where we can analyse it for you. And I want you to look at every item and ask yourself, could I have went to work that day with something that would have set me up for success? Now, if you did it over a week and you realise that you had 5 opportunities every day for a whole week, that's 35 times across the week where you could have made a better choice. Take a list of them. The following week, you can implement them. That is something you can do without anyone else. And if you do want help with it, give us a shout. We're more than willing to help. So that one change alone can be a game changer for you. The next thing on top of that is maybe prioritise so you're getting protein in each of these meals instead of being heavily high processed carbohydrates. So this video was never about telling you what to do. It was to encourage you to go and do the thinking yourself and implementing these simple changes to your life. A little bit of analysis and a little bit of change. It's very simple to do. And then later on in other videos, I will show you smart things that you can change out for these common foods that you're maybe taking to work. Give it a try, and I think you'll be very surprised how many positive changes you can make just with a little analysis. If all of that is overwhelming for you and you're sick of leaving your health to chance, check out our link in our bio, check a link out in the description below, schedule a free call with us. On that call, we will analyse everything you're doing. If you can give us a 7-day food diary, it's even better, and we can help analyse that. We can show you where you're going wrong, and we can help point you in the right direction. Everyone who comes to a call with us, regardless of whether they sign up for our 3 or 6 month programme, will leave that call with a detailed report with things they can implement that will help them make changes no matter what. Also, with our 3 or our 6 month training plan, where we will work with you day in, day out, personalising everything to your lifestyle, you will be covered with our Metabolic Guarantee. On our Metabolic Guarantee, there is not many coaching plans on the planet which offer something with such guarantee. If you don't achieve the agreed results in 3 months or 6 months, depending on what you choose, we will continue to work with you for free until you achieve the agreed results. We are so confident in what we do because everything we do is backed by science that we are happy to give it this guarantee to everyone who joins us. So if you are committed to making changes, I look forward to speaking to you.